Good Friday morning, everyone. Made it to the end of another work week, and we got some Seahawks stuff to talk about. Unfortunately, we're still not hearing a whole lot from the organization. Still haven't seen any kind of smoke plume come out of the VMAC. Are we going to have 6 more weeks of Pete Carroll, or is it time for something new in Seattle? Haven't heard anything about Jody Allen and Pete Carroll's meeting yesterday, which may very well indicate the fact that nothing's really going to change this offseason. I will continue to keep my ear to the ground, try to figure out what might be going on, and if I learn anything, I will make a video about it. But for the moment, I'm going to stay away from that. I know it's discouraging right now, but we may as well wait a little bit longer. We waited this long. We can at least wait for confirmation. If we get through the end of this week, end of Wild Card weekend, and we don't hear anything from Jody Allen or the organization, then I think it's safe to say that they have decided to roll forward with the current regime. And of course, if we hear them come out and declare that they're sticking with the current regime, then that would confirm it as well. But I'm going to stick to some other things for the time being, and we will get to those discussions as they come out, basically, as we actually have something concrete to talk about. So, I decided to go over some tier lists that I made yesterday in stream with the Hawk's Nest. If you did not watch the stream, you can go watch the replay over on his channel. We talked for about 2.5 hours about the Seahawks, where they're going, what they need to do, what they should do, etc., etc., etc. And one thing that we did in that stream was kind of separate our positional needs into a tier list. So I know some of you guys don't watch me and Hawk's Nest collabing. Some of you guys are not subbed to him for some reason. That's kind of weird that you're not. You definitely should, but some of you are not. Maybe some of you missed it and you're not a big fan of watching a 2.5 hour long stream. Maybe you want something a little more visual. So I wanted to make a shorter video just talking about this tier list that I made with Hawk's Nest in the stream last night. So go watch the recording anyway, but if you just want the data, here it is. So basically I separated our positional needs this offseason into 4 tiers: high need, medium need, low need, and no need. Keep in mind that everything is relative. So, for instance, you will see running back and left tackle in the top tier high need. However, it's much easier to get a running back than it is to get a left tackle, and it should be a lot more cost effective as well. So I am not advocating for running back to be a position we dump 50 million bucks into this offseason. I am definitely saying that we need to spend way more money and focus on left tackle than running back, but relative to the position, I consider the need to be high. Just like if I had punter in high need, let's say we didn't have Michael Dickson, I wouldn't consider Michael Dickson to be harder to find than a left tackle. And beyond that, also keep in mind that the tiers are not in any kind of order. Obviously, the tiers are in order, but the positions within the tier, I didn't rank them in order of most important need, second most important need, third most important need. It's all just kind of in the same tier. And keep in mind that we are also working under the confines of the Seahawks' current contract situation, assuming that every player we have under contract in 2022 returns, assuming that every free agent that we have this offseason is going to leave, which obviously won't be the case, but we'll adjust the chart as players leave and players come in. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this real quick, starting with the high needs. Running back, Chris Carson, as of right now, is under contract, but if he comes back, then I look for him to start the season on the PUP list and take a while to get off of it. We can't count on him. Obviously, needs to not be here next year. Rashad Penny's a free agent for the moment. Alex Collins is a free agent, so you've got DJ Dallas entering his 3rd year and Travis Homer entering his 4th year. So you definitely need to hit running back. I would be okay with bringing back Rashad Penny for a few million bucks. But you need more. You can't have Rashad Penny be the guy. If Rashad Penny's the guy, you're going to have a bad time. Gotta bring in somebody else who can be good. Somebody who's like maybe a little better than an Alex Collins. Or maybe if you got the Alex Collins that he was before he got hurt, that would be okay too. Alex Collins was doing pretty well before he got injured. But you gotta find somebody who can really carry the load for the running game when Penny's not out there. Because Penny might not be out there all the time. Like, he's often not. And if we go into this season knowing that we're depending on Rashad Penny's health to compete, you can forget about it. So running back's a high need. We need probably at least one potential workhorse and maybe one piece of depth. And I consider that to be a high priority, even if we bring back Penny. Next high need would be tight end. As of right now, Gerald Everett is a free agent, and so is Will Dissly, and Tyler Mabry may be as well. Let me check the list here real quick. I don't actually see him here. I don't know if maybe he's a just. I mean, it's not like Tyler Mabry really matters that much anyway. But as of right now, the only tight end that we have on the roster under contract in 2022 would be Colby Parkinson, and I kind of like Colby, but you definitely need to do better than that. I do think we'll bring back Dissly. He's probably a Vetman player. I would like to bring back Everett, but if we want to go in the direction of another guy, like O.J. Howard is definitely interesting, then I don't have a problem with that. I won't complain about that. We definitely need to address the tight end spot. We need to at least get somebody in who's like a Will Dissly type, but probably a little bit more than that. You probably want to do a little bit better than just Will Dissly. Okay, left tackle. I think this is the biggest need of the offseason, and I don't think it's very close. Dwayne Brown is a free agent. He may retire. I don't think we're bringing him back. Even if we do, we probably need a little bit of help here. Jamarco Jones is a free agent, and that leaves us with Stone Forsythe and Greg Eiland. Do I have that right? Yeah, it's bleak right now. As of this moment, if we went into the season, I think Stone Forsythe would be the starting left tackle, and Greg Eiland would be the backup. So even if you believe in Stone Forsythe, which I can go either way on, there's no way we can believe in him right now based off the data that we have. You need to do a lot better. And if there's any position the Seahawks need to splurge in free agency on, it's here. I don't want a rookie if I can avoid it. I want somebody with experience who has proven they can do this. Teron Armstead's my main guy. Taylor Decker would be okay. George Fant would be okay. Maybe one or two other guys are going to shake free that would be okay. But you got to give me something good there. You got to give me something real good there. I need minimum top 10 left tackle in the league. Or else, what's the point of bringing back Russell Wilson? So left tackle, high priority. Also high priority would be a center because Ethan Posick and Kyle Fuller are both free agents. And as of right now, if we started the season, the starting center would probably be Damian Lewis, which still might happen, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the way we go. It seems like we want to keep playing him at guard, so we need to bring in another center. Now, look, if you want to bring back Ethan Posick as depth, I think that's totally fine. I think that's totally reasonable. But you gotta get a little better at that starting spot. Give me a good center, okay? Ethan Posick is okay. He's probably around league average. He's fine, you know? And he's injury prone on top of it. So there's very little upside and a lot of downside. Give me somebody better. Get me a veteran, Ryan Jensen, Jason Kelsey, Ben Jones. Those are the names that everyone throws around right now. If you really want to attack that position in the draft, then I don't think that's unreasonable. I would be a little scared of letting a rookie center start for a team that is trying to win the Super Bowl, but it happens sometimes. And if you build the rest of the offensive line good enough, you might have something there. So center's definitely a high need. You need to probably bring in a new starter and a new backup. Now, maybe the new backup could be Posick, but either way, you're going to have to make some signings or some picks to make it happen. So even though it's going to be easier to address than left tackle, I think it's just as important a need. And it's going to be very easy for this team to fall into the trap of just bringing back Posick in 2022 to be the starter. I really hope we can do a little better than that. Okay, next position of high need would be 3-tech. We don't really have a 3-tech right now. Al Woods and Brian Monet are both free agents, so we're kind of thin at tackle anyway. Right now, our best 3-tech might be Robert Kimdichie, who actually should be available this offseason as well, now that I think about it. So you really might be down to LJ Collier, who is still under contract right now, although I don't expect that to last. You kind of got nothing here because Poona Ford has proven in 2021 that he is not a 3-tech. He needs to move back to his real position. So be it in the draft or in free agency, you got to find a quality 3-tech who can get to the quarterback, because that was one of the most sorely lacking things on this defense in 2021. So 3-tech's a high need. Got to address it one way or the other. If you can get Fletcher Cox from Philadelphia after they let him go, then that would be pretty sweet, but you might have to shoot a little lower than that. But those are the options. And the final position of high need is cornerback. And again, I want to stress this is relative. Pete Carroll should be able to handle this. He should be able to handle it cheap. He should be able to handle it easily. That's the Pete Carroll experience. The Pete Carroll experience means you deal with a guy who sucks at game management, sucks at in-game adjustments, sucks at drafting, sucks at development, it just kind of sucks at everything, but the players play hard for him, the players like him, he builds culture, and he can develop the hell out of a cornerback room. Can't develop much of anything else, but he can develop a cornerback. So, nevertheless, as of right now, DJ Reed's a free agent. Sidney Jones is a free agent. Trey Brown is coming off a pretty major injury. Blessuan Austin is a free agent. John Reed is a free agent. You're bringing back guys like Nigel Warrior and Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson on a futures reserve contract. You've got Ugo Amadi not Ugo Amadi, but Marquise Blair coming off a major injury. You need to address it. And I would prefer to address it cheaply. Bring back Sidney Jones for $3 or $4 million a year. Hope Trey Brown can make a comeback next year. Bring in more guys who can be competent. More Blessuan Austins. More John Reeds. More Michael Jackson Juniors. Bring in more of those guys. Go get the next DJ Reed if you can't afford him this offseason. But even if you do decide to address this problem by just bringing back DJ Reed, which is certainly a defensible position, you still got to do it. As of right now, the starting secondary would be Blessuan Austin and John Reed and Michael Jackson. It would be bleak right now. So one way or the other, you got to do some stuff to address the cornerback position. The good news is we actually have a coach who generally does a good job of handling that on the cheap and without any major investments. He needs to continue to do that this offseason if we retain him. And in this area, I think he can do that. Okay, medium need next up. We got right tackle. I'd love to move this down to low need, and I'm close. Jake Curhan did look good down the stretch, but look, bottom line is this. Jake Curhan didn't really show up, didn't really start doing stuff until the team was basically eliminated. So until further notice, he hasn't proved it yet. He's proved that he can play well. He's put some good film out there, put some good tape out there. But until he actually starts doing it for a team that is playing meaningful games, meaningful football, I need to see a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So I'm going to say medium need for now because we do need depth there either way. Now, some people think that Jake Curhan is a solid as a rock starter going into 2022. Some people think that he would be a great backup, great depth. So either way, you need somebody else. You need to either bring in another backup or you need to bring in another starter. If you want to bring in Brandon Shell back to be competing with him for a starting job, that's okay. I would prefer to go like a Morgan Moses if he comes available. I think he will be. But either way, you do need to bring in another right tackle. And to anybody out there who is just assuming that Jake Curhan is the next Walter Jones over there on the right side, Walter didn't play the right side, but you know what I mean. Just slow your roll a little bit. Okay, next up for medium need, we have 5 tech. Kerry Hyder Jr. is currently under contract for 2022. He's okay. I like him. He's good against the run, but he's certainly not great. We could do better. I would prefer Kerry Hyder Jr. to be a backup to a much better 5 tech. Some people are floating the idea of Jadeveon Clowney coming in to start and Kerry Hyder becoming a reserve player, which maybe that would work. Rasheen Green is a free agent. I don't know if he's going to be back or not. I kind of hope not. I don't really want him back unless it's for like a veteran minimum contract or basically veteran minimum contract. I just don't think he's that good. You could bring back guys like Robert Kemdichi to be a third string 5 tech where he just kind of comes off the practice squad a few times a year. But you probably need a big gun at 5 tech, somebody who can really kick butt. And Kerry Hyder, I had hopes for him, but he's not quite that dude. So, medium need for 5 tech. Kerry Hyder's decent, but we got to do a little better. And my third medium need would be the will linebacker spot. If Bobby stays, then Jordan Brooks has proven he can't cover. He got lit up in coverage this year. If Bobby goes, then we need a will anyway because Brooks will be moving. But I just want to bring in a will linebacker who can actually cover, because right now that's the main problem with this team. We can't cover. And that's true whether or not Bobby stays, whether or not Brooks moves over to Mike. I want to start developing the next will linebacker, and I don't believe in Barton that much. Okay, next medium need would be nickel cornerback. You basically got two, maybe three guys you can look at for nickel cornerback. Right now, you've got Ugo Amadi, who did not impress me this year. Marquise Blair, who has had two devastating injuries in back-to-back seasons. And you've got Ryan Neal, who's a free agent. So, to me, I would like to bring in the guy to push Ugo Amadi. Either take his spot or push Ugo to higher heights to keep his job. So, I would like to see Ugo Amadi be pushed by a rookie, pushed by maybe you could find a decent nickel cornerback veteran. Doesn't really matter to me how you do it, but I want to do a little better than Ugo in 2022 if possible. If we have to roll into 2022 with Ugo because the money and the picks we had didn't allow us to address the position, that's okay. Blair might be able to push him a little bit, but I'm just not excited about Ugo the way I was even a year ago. A year ago, I liked what I saw from Ugo, but this last year, he let me down a little bit. Though I will say we don't really have much of a pass rush, and that doesn't help players like him. And the final medium need for me would be free safety. Quandre Diggs is currently a free agent. As of right now, the free safety, if he is out, would I guess be either Ryan Neal or Josh Jones, or I don't know exactly how we would maneuver the safety position. We got guys like Nigel Warrior kicking around too, who some people are kind of high on. I'm high on Tanner Muse. The safety position without Quandre Diggs is a little bit of a mystery, but you still do have Marquise Blair, by the way. That's the main reason why this isn't a high need. You've got a lot of young guys who have a chance on this roster who could play safety, but I wouldn't bet on any of them is basically what I'm trying to get at here. So if Diggs leaves, it's a medium need. We've seen before that when we don't have a quality free safety in this defense, we give up big plays. We saw that in 2019. And those would be my medium needs for this offseason. Let's go over to the low needs, just a few of these. First is the quarterback spot. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think Gino's going to be back at this point. He kind of dug his own grave there. And we need a backup. And I know some people like Jacob Eason. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I don't see it with Jacob Eason. I see the talent, but I don't see the drive. I don't see the I don't see the passion. So to me, you need to bring in somebody. If you want to bring in a veteran kind of guy like another Geno Smith, I guess that's okay. But if you could find somebody with a little more upside, somebody who's younger, somebody who can get better, somebody who might even be able to push Wilson at some point in his career, that would be cool. Like what the Eagles did with Gardner Minshew, where they brought in a guy who had upside, who could get better. If you could do that here, that'd be okay. But if you want to bring in a Brent Hundley, I'm not really going to argue it, but it's a low need for now. I would also say you've got a low need at right guard. It's the guard spot is a little messy on this team right now for me, because to me, the right guard spot should be on lockdown with Damian Lewis, but we're playing him at left guard right now. So right now you've got Gabe Jackson at right guard, and he's good, he's all right. And you've got Phil Haynes. I'm not sure. Let me check something here real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Let me call a little audible here. Is Phil Haynes? Yes, it looks like Phil Haynes is going to be here in 2022, so that's cool. Phil Haynes more of a left guard than a right guard, but it seems like he can play both, so that's cool. And at the end of the day, I would say that you want to maybe bring in one more depth guard, somebody along with Phil Haynes to provide reserve, just be in reserve behind Gabe Jackson, Damian Lewis alongside Phil Haynes. Now, if a guy like a Pierre-Olivier Lestage wants to declare themselves as being worthy of an NFL roster spot, then that would take care of business. If you have some other UDFA guy you want to bring in, that would obviously be ideal. But as of right now, I would go low need for right guard, and that's pushing it. It might really be no need. I think our guard spots are pretty good. Now, the way in which we utilize our guards is very questionable, but in terms of the actual need, in terms of talent, I think we're pretty good there. And the final low need for me is one tech. We have Puna under contract still. I think he'll be back. Puna's great. Puna can play one tech awesome. Hopefully, we have the wisdom and just general intelligence to move him back to one tech in 2022. That's where he excels. That's where he played his best football. We do need depth behind him because right now Al Woods and Brian Monet are free agents. I do think we're going to bring back Al Woods. And if we do that, that would obviously completely handle the problem. You would have Puna and Al Woods rotating at the one tech, and you'd be solid. But for the moment, Al Woods free agent. Let's see what happens. And that's it for the low needs. And you have positions of no need, which I think kind of speak for themselves. Wide receiver, left guard, the Leo. That would obviously change if we moved on from Dunlap, but at this point, I don't think we will. Mike, I don't think this changes even if you move off Bobby, because you have Jordan Brooks and even Cody Barton. Both those guys strike me as middle linebacker types. Sam, we have too many guys on this team who I want to see get a chance at Sam, especially Daryl Taylor, so I'm going to say there's no need there. Somebody on this roster should be able to be a competent Sam. Strong safety, Jamal's not going anywhere for the time being, and we do have some passable safety depth on this team, so I'm not worried about that. And then kicker and punter. Now, kicker becomes a need if we cut Jason Myers, which we should, but until then, it's not a need, and obviously Michael Dixon, no need. So I think that's all pretty self-explanatory. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any objections. I tried to explain myself the best I could. There are maybe one or two things that if I woke up in the morning with the intention of adjusting this list, I might swap one or two things around a little bit. But I feel pretty good about this. It gives us a blueprint on how to attack this offseason. We're going to bring back some of these free agents that are listed here, and we are going to reduce the number of needs here, but there's a lot of work to be done in free agency. There's a lot of work to be done in the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. See you guys in the afternoon. Peace out. Go Hawks. If you have any strong objections with any of this, please let me know. I definitely would love to discuss it with some of you. And this is the initial offseason plan. So for those of you who missed the stream last night, there it is. See you guys later. Go Hawks.